So Wednesday travelled down to Brentford, hoping to put in a strong performance and possibly get through to League Cup quarter-finals. And if they could win tonight's tie, they would win a massive prize pot of £15,000. That's right, yeah, £15,000. Probably get you a championship playing into training twice a week for a week. All money a washing game, and that's prize pot for anyway. Forget about that. Team news. How would Danny do it? Obviously, we've got a huge game against Watford on Saturday. We're about mid-table now, but we're still looking over his shoulder. We don't want to get pulled back in there, so lots to think about. Barry Bannon played nearly every minute of league football. A little bit thin in midfield. Worth the chance? Well, Danny says not, and I agree with him. Brentford manager Thomas Frank, surprising one or two people think, going with a very strong side to face Wednesday tonight. 6 of the players in the starting lineup played on Saturday. It's Flecken in goal, a back four of Vandenberg, Collins, Meat and Magoma. 2 sitting players in Jensen and Janelt. Buomo, Carvalho and Lewis Potter across the middle, and Sade at centre forward. More surprisingly perhaps, or less surprisingly if you look at the league, 9 changes from Danny Roll. Still a 3-4-3. His Wednesday side tonight. Pierce Charles in goal. Back 3, Iofa, Otigbeo and Max Lowe, the left wing back, coming in at left-sided centre half. Midfield from the right-hand side, where Callum Patterson captained the team. Patterson, Fazier, Ingleson and Johnson. And up front, 3 more changes again. Masaba and Gassama coming in to support Ike Ugbo at centre forward. So, not too much of a surprise there. Wednesday really mixing things up. Obviously, injury to Firmino at the weekend, huge blow. Bit of a surprise to see Max Lowe pulled in there from left wing back. But again, I think that shows how short we are in defensive cover. Iofa comes in on right hand side. Played on Saturday, but not played for a long time before that. And of course, in the centre, another young lad, Gabriel Otugbeo, he comes in. A really makeshift back 3 there. Charles in the goal, and obviously again changes in midfield, Ingleson and another young lad Fazier in there, so I think it just shows how much of an eye Danny's got on that league, and rightly so. The first really good opportunity actually goes to Wednesday, which is surprising. It's about 3 or 4 minutes in. Marvin Johnson does brilliantly to steal ball in midfield, helps it onto Ugbo, he pops it off out wide to Callum Patterson, he drives on, tries to thread Masaba in down right hand side, and he's strolled into an offside position, and it's so frustrating because obviously you're playing a Premier League team, they're going to probably dominate the ball, which you would expect. So you've got to make the most of them opportunities. You know they're probably going to be few and far between the breaks that you get. So when you do get them, you've got to be alive to it. You've got to be alive to the situation that you're in, just as you've got to be alive at the back to defending it and spotting potential dangers. When you're up there, one of the most basic things, you've got to be aware of where you are in terms of the line. So that was frustrating because that was a good opportunity for Wednesday early on. Brentford surprised me a bit. Obviously I don't watch too much Premier League football, but obviously Brentford have got a way of playing, which last time I saw them they were knocking it about nicely, which they did tonight in patches, especially in that sort of, I won't say their last third, but coming up to the halfway line, they knocked it about a lot there. But what did surprise me is they really weren't afraid to knock a long ball, which caught me off guard. They were trying it time and again that first 10 minutes or so. But then when you look at the stats, they've scored a lot of very early goals in the league this season, so perhaps that's why, trying to catch teams cold, little flip balls over the top. Although as the half went on, they were doing that less and less. They scored on 10-minute mark. It actually comes from my goal kick. Charles boots it long. Their centre half gets up, wins header into midfield. And then from there, it's just a little lob over the top. It's a really simple passing behind. We've squeezed a really high line up. But there's some terrible bad luck in there, and I feel sorry for the young lad who's coming at centre back because it's gone over the top. their forward's got some real pace. He's streaking away. He does brilliantly to even get within touching distance of him to make that ground up. Not close enough to make the block, but he's close enough that he slides in and he forces him to take the shot on. Charles makes a really smart save, and it's just sod's law, isn't it? I mean, that ball can bounce anywhere off Beto. It can hit his back and go back to Charles. It can hit him and flip out over there, way out at box. As it is, it hits him and lands straight at their centre forward's feet, tucks it in. A bit of a muted celebration, actually, to be fair to the lad, because I think he realised he'd had a slice of luck, but a little bit unlucky. They're turning screw now a little bit, and what they've started doing, the first 10 minutes or so, they were trying to catch us out with that long ball off at top. As they're growing into the game now, things are getting warmed up. They're suddenly alive to little gaps, and it's where they're really showing the Premier League quality, to be honest with you. As soon as they get into that sort of halfway of Wednesday's half, if you know what I mean, that sort of 3/4 of the way up pitch, suddenly it's them little triangles and given goals. And honestly, it was the sort of football I love to see. Little balls through gap. You're not trying to find a man. You're just knocking it through gap because you know he's going to be moving on to it and that. Loads of them. They were turning it screw a little bit. Callum Patterson though came in, brilliant defensive tackle in box. The lad down the left hand side, is it Potter, I think, he'd wiggled in past a couple of challenges. Patterson came in out of nowhere, bang, brilliant block tackle, fantastic. Put it out for the corner. And then Patterson did brilliantly again, actually, front corner, because he gets whipped in. And Vandenberg's in there, who I've not really heard a lot about since he left Whitesnake, you know. I've got to be honest, I preferred the slightly more heavy bluesy sound of Bernie Marsden's guitar. But you've got to be fair, mid-80s, that twin guitar attack of Steve Vai and Vandenberg takes some beating. Anyway, yeah, Pat sort of dangered out again by giving him a bit of shoulder. 18, 19 minutes, another good opportunity for Wednesday. Gassama bursts away down the right hand side, opens his legs. Real drive, energy, directness, can't fault any of that. Gets to the box, it's bloody boop 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 boop. Tunnels easy. Masaba's on back stick, head up. Oh, he's there. Keeper's drawn. It's a tapping. Really frustrating. Because, like I said, you're not going to have a lot of ball in these games. You know you're going to be having to sit off and defend and work hard, and your opportunities are going to be few and far between. So when you do get them, you've really got to be, as I said, with that earlier chance from Masaba being offside, you've got to be switched on and aware, you know. And that's another little thing that did disappoint me a little bit today. When you know you're going to be playing on counter-attack, you can't always be looking for feet all the time, you know. And I think one of the reasons why Danny's probably put those three in up front, so you've got Ugbo, Masaba, Gassama. Pace. Absolutely bags of pace. You don't have to come looking for feet all the time when you're back to goal. Yeah, I'll have it. Go the other way. And it's... I know football's changed. I mean, when I was a kid, got strikers like Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker was not bothered about having ball. He was not bothered about coming, you know, dropping into midfield and let me have a little touch. You know, like Harry Kane does all the time, always dropping back. I'll have a little bit of ball. He weren't bothered about ball. All he were bothered about is, I'm hitting a space, find me. Michael Owen, another one. Not bothered about dropping in and linking and trying to turn and you know. There's a gap, I'm going to run into it, hit me. And with the pace we'd got, Gassama, Masaba, Ugbo, especially when you're counter-attacking, you sat deep, which means that their defence is high up and you've got acres behind them. Just have a look along your line and just point. If somebody's over there with ball, just point. I'm fucking going. Boo! Nothing wrong with that. And not these days, you know, you get your football hipsters. Oh, it's a bit long ball, that. And Brentford are a really good football inside. Were they afraid to do a long ball? No, were they fuck? Because you do what you do to try and score a goal. They were flipping it time and again. I'm just really surprised, like I said, with the pace of them three, that at no stage in first half did any of them, I'm going, find me. It would all, yes, I'll have it, give it to me and I'll try a mazy little run. You aren't allowed to run without the ball. Anyway, that's me moaning done, because other than that, it was a really tight performance from Wednesday first half. Worked really hard. Charles made a couple of really, really good saves. Really comfortable on ball. It was a bit smaller than that. Every time I see him, I was thinking, it's a bit smaller than I imagine. Probably 2 foot taller than me, but yeah, decent solid half from Wednesday. A little bit unlucky with a goal, and then I just wish they could have made more opportunities they did to get forward, or create some better opportunities by giving midfield and defence who were under pressure that out ball. It was just after break they got in that left hand side. Charles did really well again. Kid puts a cross in. There's no way in the world he would have shot, but he put a cross in that was coming down. I think it was going to sneak in under bar. Really good strong hand of at bar from that. And I like keepers to catch, but if he'd caught that, he'd have caught it and fell it back at net. So absolutely right thing to tip that one off at bar. 56 minutes, Wednesday back in the game. Been having a bit of go at Gassam in it first half, then he does this, the keeper throws it out, their keeper. I've seen that from every angle, bizarre decision to throw that. I thought he might have just dropped it and get a bit of laces pass, knee length pass, but anyway, not that bothered. Gets cut out, Gassama turns, runs in, their midfielder sort of backs off him, and it's fantastic striking to corner, takes a little bounce as well, just take it past keepers, in off post, fantastic strike. Wednesday back in game, and it really sunk Brentford. You could see that they sort of like air going out of a balloon. And Wednesday from then really grew. Patterson won a brilliant flick on, long ball from keeper, fantastic flick on. Ugbo gets away, tries a shot. There was somebody again, back stick, just that awareness. Just have a quick look. There was somebody in a better position at back stick. But what I will say is, he's not got a goal, so I don't mind him attempting it in a cup game. It was a bit ambitious, but he's having a go, trying to get his aim. So I don't fault him for that. Actually, fair play. Magoma broke down left-hand side for them. He put in an absolutely bloody insidious cross right across 6-yard box. Fantastic cross. Just far enough away that keeper can't come out for it, and it only needed a toe. One of their lads is sliding in at back stick. Great opportunity for them. They got a kid on right-hand side, Bomo, really lively player. And again, they're not afraid to try and find a big diagonal out to him. For all their nice football, not afraid to mix it up. And that's sort of football I love to see, teams mixing it up. I thought he was their best player. He was a real threat, got a really good left foot. He could go on outside, come on inside, got loads of pace. I've got to be honest, I thought Marvin Johnson did a great job against him. I really did. I thought he would far and away their best player, but there's one bit, Marv, he jockeys him. He don't stick a foot in. He don't sell himself. He don't go sliding in and try and do a blockbuster tackling it in left for dead. He just jockeys him, and he jockeys him about 20 yards back up pitch into their half, and he ends up having to lay it off back to his right fullback. Brilliant defending, and as much as I thought he was their best player, I thought Marv stood up to him, and I thought Marvin Johnson was absolutely fabulous tonight. Danny makes changes, brings Smithy on, Windass on, trying to freshen things up a little bit. We've worked really hard tonight defensively, having to do a lot of chasing, a lot of ugly jobs, Smithy puts him centre back, and Windass is live. They're getting more game time because obviously he's missed a few weeks. Marv blasts one just over at bar. That's another decent opportunity, sneaking up at left. And Wednesday were turning a screw on them a little bit. Like I said, it was just going a little bit flat for them, Brentford. He makes a couple of changes. Frank, he's sat in dugout a lot with his mate, with his little tablet. There's a lot of that goes on. Half the time, he didn't look like he were watching bleeding game, but that's modern football, isn't it? Looks like it's going to penalties, about 85 minutes, something like that. Wednesday pushing on again, you know, they're really going for it. I think, can we nick one here? And Brentford got a break on us. 4 against 2, young lad in middle, he's got 3 runners coming at him. He's coming down left hand side. Callum Patterson gets back in, he absolutely busts his bollocks, and it's a right tackle. On his weaker left foot as well, it's a fantastic tackle. And that's what you want in a cup tie, blood and thunder tackles, and that, I'm sure, I know it's an 8 halfway line, I'm sure that saves a goal. It's 4 against 2. If he gets past Patto here, in fact, he's past him, it's just a brilliant recovery. But young lad in middle, 3 strikers to mark, that would have been a goal. Brilliant, brilliant. Not just a brilliant tackle, but brilliant work rate, brilliant commitment and desire to get back in. And that's about attitude. Wednesday had 9 shots in this game, and 7 of them were in second half. You know, Windass smashed one across goal. Again, ambitious strike, but shows confidence to take it on, which I've got no problem with that. If we're taking that confidence into Watford game, brilliant. Don't mind that at all. Like I said, pushing on. And eventually, you know, tired legs, and I think both sides like, yeah, okay, I think they'll probably take penalties. And what a set of penalties they are. Some absolutely fantastic penalties in there. All this with names on water bottles and where they put in penalties. It's amazing how many times keepers go other way, because, you know, I think they're aware, aren't they? It's all mind games, isn't it? They're probably aware. Oh, kid's got them written down, so I'll go the way. It makes you wonder. But fantastic penalties from both teams, and then obviously last one, Liam Palmer steps up. I'd actually got a bad feeling about it. I think because of how much it probably means to him. But fair play, he's got up there, took a penalty. It's not even a bad penalty. You know, it's a good save. It's just not quite far enough in corner. But good thing is, he stepped forward. He's come off bench, stepped forward, and he's taken one. So young lads didn't have to. Which might sound a little thing, but it's amazing how much that matters, because look at England other year, when them 3 young lads had to step up and take penalties. You know, Saka was still doing his GCSEs, and you've got experienced players stood up fucking halfway line letting a kid go up and take a penalty. One of a look at minute of them. I don't know, I'm getting angry about that again. It's 2 years ago, but anyway, he does step up. You know, experienced player with some bollocks. Somebody's going to miss, let it be me, not one of the kids. I like that, a lot of respect for that. Anyway, we're out. They're through. But I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed it, you know. First half, a little bit frustrating that we didn't try and get him behind more. Like I said, make runs without the ball. That's a bit old-fashioned, that now, and it running without ball. But like I said, you look at people like Rush, Lineker, Owen, basically any speed merchant. Build a career on just running without ball. I'm off. Find me. To be fair to Gassam and Massar, but they are wingers though, aren't they? So they're probably used to having ball and being encouraged to take people on. But now and again, make a run without ball, you know. Yeah, good display. Few things I will talk about, just to wrap things up, because I've got work in, 3.5 hours. Max Lowe, thought he did really well. He's come in, he's not found it easy since he's been at Hillsborough. But he's a left back or a wing back. He's played left-sided centre half today against Premier League opposition. I think he's had a really good game. I think that's a really good building block for him. And obviously in Championship, I don't think playing him there that Danny can rule out after tonight's performance. I think he's done really well. The young lad who's coming at centre half as well, to play in the middle of that, I think he did exceptionally well. Their young centre forward was an absolute flyer. He's only He's only beaten once. Admittedly, he scored from it, but I think he's had another really good game. He made a vital interception as well in second half. I think he's done really, really well. Is it Ogbeto? Gabriel? Really strong game. Charles at net again. He's made some really good saves. The saves I would expect him to make, but nevertheless he's made them really good. Like I said, good with his feet. The young lad at middle at Park, nothing outstanding, but he gives it in goals. Simple stuff and very important. And what great experience for them. Right down the spine at team, you know, your goalkeeper, centre half, centre midfield, 3 kids right down your spine, and your spine's so important in football. 3 lads right down the spine, all come through at youth setup. So that's really pleasing to see. I've enjoyed watching that tonight. Good for Wednesday's future to see players like that coming through and getting experience, like I said, against really good opposition. So I'm pleased with that. The Max Lowe experiment, I think that worked. I think that gives Danny, you know, food for thought, because obviously we've lost Vermeil. And like I said, it's more game time under belt for Windass, players like that on comeback trail. So even though we've gone out on penalties, I think it's another good solid building block ready for Watford at weekend. Man of the match, the temptation would be for me to give it to one of the young lads. Keeper's made some good saves, as I said, ones that I would probably expect him to make. The young centre-half, really impressed with him. Really, really impressed. But my man of the match, I cannot look past, for the 3rd week on spin really, Marvin Johnson. We're playing Premier League opposition. I think 6 or 7 of their players started at the weekend in Premier League. And Marvin Johnson looked at that level. His defensive work was absolutely fantastic. His use at ball were really good. He's such an attacking threat. And I genuinely think he's got better. I think so far this is his best season. His game looks more rounded. I remember when he was first playing sort of left back and left wing back, I was a bit unsure about the defensive side of his game, which probably unsurprising. Played nearly all his career as a winger. But I thought he was absolutely fantastic tonight, Marvin Johnson, as he has been most of this season. Really good. So yeah, Marv, man of the match. Anyway, I'm off to bed. Work soon. Good game. Enjoyed the game. Good fighting spirit from Wednesday. They give it a real go. And what I've said all along, and I'll always say, is if you give it a go, fans will always get behind you, whatever result. And they give it a real go tonight. Really pleased. And if they get that same effort and commitment on Saturday against Watford, great stuff. That's what I want to say. And that a performance like that against a team like that, especially what we saw second half, should be enough to get us 3 points, which is what it's all about. Anyway, I am going to have to go to bed. So hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll see you for Watford.